welcome to Extemporaneous Aviation Discussion again. Another reason to see these museums and just to get an idea once again of that scale, to see how these planes really looked, what they were like when you see planes like the C-46 that we saw a moment ago, or this PBY, which was normally a Navy airplane, but the Army Air Corps did use some of them to rescue downed pilots at sea. You see it standing beside the B-29 and beside another airplane, the P-61. P-61 was the first true night fighter, that is built from the ground up as a night fighter that the United States had. Entered World War II with almost no night fighting experience or understanding. The Navy would slap on a radar pod on the wing of an F-6F or an F-4U Corsair and fly them as night fighters with a little radar scope inside the plane. The Air Force used, Army Air Corps, used British bow fighters and even tried to use a version of the A-20 attack plane. The P-20 just didn't really work out so well, but this was the first purpose-built night fighter. Really sleek, built by Northrop with a 450 caliber turret, exactly what the B-29 had, and 420 millimeters 420 millimeter cannon in the belly of the airplane. So they had a radar operator, you had a gunner, you had a pilot, two engines, you had the twin boom, twin rudder, similar to the P-38 in its design. Another thing I really enjoy about this era and that you can really appreciate when you come to a museum like this is how many of the problems and developments to overcome those problems occurred through a very short period of time. To go higher, faster, and further were the goals of these airplanes, and how different designers approached that problem. There were some incredible people who designed these airplanes, amazing people who built them, were very dedicated and just had great integrity and self-sacrifice in order to construct these airplanes. Many of the airplane companies couldn't do it alone, and so after the war started, companies that used to build furniture or toasters were building airplanes or parts or engines or guns or instruments or other mechanical pieces that went into these airplanes. Just a phenomenal event. And then just to appreciate, have a greater appreciation for the people who kept them flying, the servicing that had to be done in oftentimes very remote locations, places in the Aleutians or on Pacific Islands or forward air bases or even other air depots and so forth that were behind the lines. Still a lot of primitive conditions, a lot of sacrifice, and just to appreciate them. When you see planes like these in the movies, you know, you realize that an actor steps out of a perfectly air-conditioned RV, steps in front of the camera in a perfectly pressed uniform, and plays a part for a few minutes. That these were people who lived in those rough conditions and under sometimes a lot of threat of illness and hostility for long periods of time, and went long periods of time without being able to see their family and just, you know, wanting to be like the rest of us, wanting to go home and live out a life for themselves, and were unable to do that for a period of time, and some of them never came back. The people that serviced them, of course, the people who flew them, and all that worked together. Just have that appreciation as you see these airplanes sitting here quiet now, never to run, never to fly again, but great examples of that era of aviation. I think you see a greater appreciation of that when you visit a place like this than just looking at articles online or reading books or watching the movies that portray these events. Sometimes not all that accurate, but thanks for watching.